In this tutorial, we're going to be using JavaScript in order to ask for permission to show the position and then display a map with latitude and longitude points. Right now it's using OpenStreetMap and Leaflet, but you can use Google Maps as well. Same concept, but this will show you how to grab the latitude and longitude of a visitor's position. Hey guys, welcome back to a new episode of DevJor. Today we're going to be going over how to build out a geolocation request using JavaScript, and then we're going to tie it into like where they click a button to authenticate having their geolocation used on your website, and then displaying the pinpoint in a map. So I'm going to go ahead and get started now. So the first thing I'm going to do is create just a regular HTML document. This one isn't going to have any kind of bootstrap or anything like that in it. It's just basically going to be a button that shows the result of your location and then a map. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and create a new folder, and it's just going to be called JS, and then inside of that we're going to have a single file called init.js. Okay, so now we have our two files. Let's come over here and start working on our actual HTML. Let's go ahead and call this geolocation request tutorial. Okay, so inside of this, let's go ahead and add a reference to our JavaScript. So we're going to do script source equals JS init.js. Okay, and then here we're just going to do a button type button, and then let's just call this ID equals show position so we can actually produce a result with that. And let's just put the title of it as show position. Okay. So what I want to happen is whenever someone clicks on this button over here, let me reset the zoom here. Okay, so whenever someone clicks on this button, I want it to ask them to get permission to actually store their location. So over here in our init file, let's create a class called geolocation, and then let's come outside of our class, and we're going to define a variable constant show position, and this is going to be equal to document, and let me go ahead and close out this so you can see it better. So document dot query selector, because there's only one of them, and we're going to pass in the ID that we just created of show position, and then we're going to add an event listener to it. So let's do show position dot add event listener, and it's just going to be a click event. We're going to pass our function, and we want to have the event actually passed to it, so we can do event.prevent default. And then once the button is clicked, we're eventually going to hide it, so I'm just going to comment this part out, but we're going to do this.style.display equals none. Eventually I'll uncomment that out, so whenever we actually get it to work, we'll get it to work. Okay, so let's do, once it gets done hiding its position, it's going to do new geolocation, and then let's create a function called show position. Okay, so inside of our class, we're going to create this function called show position. Don't have to pass any variables to it. Essentially what this is going to do is it's going to just essentially just say that we're going to grab the position and then do something with it. So first, let's check to see if the browser allows us to do geolocation. So we're going to do navigator.geolocation. So if it allows for geolocation, then we're going to grab the current position. So let's do navigator.geolocation geolocation.get current position. And then for this, you need to have a success callback and an error callback. So we're going to pass in, let's create a function that we're going to call, so it's going to be this success, so this success callback, and then we're also going to do this error callback. Okay, so once this runs, actually let's go ahead and do the else statement here. So if it doesn't support it, we want to do an alert, and this alert's just basically going to say that let's see, your browser does not support geolocation. Okay, and that should be it for that. So let's go ahead and create our functions for the success and the error callback. So let's go ahead and up here we're going to create a new function called success callback, and then we're just going to have it console log out something. And let's also create our error callback, and we're just going to also have it console log something else. So we need to pass the position to our success callback and pass the error to our error callback, and then we can pass that position to our console log and the error to our console log as well. So now if we come over here and we hit let's open up our inspection, so go to console and we hit show position. If we allow it, it shows our coordinates. I don't know where these coordinates are because I'm on a VPN, so it's gonna show wherever my VPN is located at. But so that was the success version of it. If we come over here, we can reset permissions and then reload the page. If we hit show position and then we block it, you can see that it says code 1 message user denied geolocation. So for right now, I want to reset this and reload it so we can actually display the information that we're going to need to display. First thing I want to do is on our index.html, I want to create a div that's called result. And I'm going to go ahead and style this with some hard-coded inline style. And the result, I'm just going to add, font size to it, 1.5 rem, font weight of bold. I'm going to align it text center, put a margin on the bottom, and then have its initial display as none so that it doesn't show anything. And then going back to our initialize.js, inside of our success callback, I want to create a variable that references that result that I just created. So document.querySelector, and then I'm just going to pass in the result ID. And then I want to have that result, style.display is going to equal to block so that it shows it. And then I want to have the result inner text is going to be equal to latitude, which is going to be your position dot coordinates or chords dot latitude, and then I'm gonna put a comma in there, and then I'm gonna add the longitude, so long, and then this is going to equal to position dot coordinates dot longitude. Okay, so this will show our longitude and our latitude. So now if we come over here and we click show position and we allow, we can see that our longitude and our latitude is being displayed here. So continuing that, we're going to remove our error. We're basically going to copy and paste the result that we did at the top, and then we're going to do if error code equals 1, which would be that it's been denied. We're just going to do result inner HTML. You have not given permission to access your location. And then I also need to have it where I'm just going to copy and paste the result.style.display equals block to make sure that it appears. And we can see this if we come back over here and reset our permissions again and we reload, and this time if we hit show position and then block, you can see it says you have not given your permission to access your location. Okay, so let me reset this again just to have it where we need it to be at. And there's a few other error codes. So we got error code 2, which I'm just going to copy and paste error code 1 because it's basically the same thing. And I'm going to do an else if statement here. So if else if error code equals 2, this is going to be your location is unavailable. And I'm going to add a period up here as well. And then finally, we're going to do else if error code equals 3. And then this one is going to be the request to get your location timed out. And then finally, we're going to do an else statement that is going to be just for any other requests that are being made. So an unknown error occurred. All right, so now if we hit show position, it's going to show the latitude and longitude because I'm going to allow it. I can't show you the other ones just because I have my location turned on and it's not going to time out on me. But just having these on there as like a catch for you would be good to have. So now we're able to get our longitude and latitude. So I'm going to go back over to our index.html and I'm going to use the Leaflet package for the embedded map. You can use Google Maps or whatever you want to do, but Leaflet is free and it uses I think it's like Open Maps or something like that as the backbone of it. So I'm just going to incorporate those, and you can just Google Leaflet to get this CSS and this JavaScript. I'm going to copy and paste over on my side. Okay, so we have the CSS and the JavaScript for it, and then down here I'm going to add a div ID equals map, and that's going to give us our map. So let me go ahead and close out of the console over here, and right now it's not going to do anything just because we don't have JavaScript that controls the map set up yet. But since we're grabbing the information that we need, I'm going to come over here and we're going to display the map. So let's first create a variable. So map container equals document dot query selector, and this is going to be map. And then we're also going to do map container dot style dot display equals block, which reminds me I need to go back over here and we're going to do let's see, let me go ahead and set up the map. So map height, and this is going to be, let's say, get 80 vertical height. Let me format this the same way. So 80 vertical height, and it's going to be set to display none. Okay, so now whenever they click on this, it's going to actually display that map for us. All right, so now that we have it set, and you can look at what I'm doing through Leaflet, their documentation's pretty standard, I guess, but essentially what I'm going to do here is create the map, and then I'm going to add a tile layer to it, and then I'm going to add a map marker layer. So first thing we want to do is create a constant map equals l.map, and it's just going to reference that ID that we created, and then .set view, and we're going to pass in those coordinates. So the first one is going to be position dot coordinates dot latitude, and then the second one is going to be position dot coordinates dot longitude, and then I want to give it a zoom of 13. Alright, so now we have our map view set. So if we click on that, you can see that it's loading the Leaflet map now. It doesn't contain any information just because it's not, we need to tie it into OpenStreetMap.org, which would allow us to actually display the map. So next thing we need to do is add our tile layer. So let's do const tiles equals l.tile layer, and then we're going to pass in some information from OpenStreetMaps. So you can copy this exactly as you see it. So this is going to be HTTPS, and then we're going to pass in s.tile.openstreetmap.org/z/x/y.png. Then we're going to do a comma, and we're going to set our max zoom. Let's just say it's going to be set to 19, and then we can add an attribution to it. So I'm just going to add an attribution for OpenStreetMap. So attribution, attribution, and then we're just going to pass in and copy ahref http www.openstreetmap.org, and I believe I'm going to link it to their copyright page. So copyright and OpenStreetMap, and then that should do it for that. And then I'm just going to take this, we're going to add to map. So now if we come back over here and we refresh, I thought it might show the map by then, but maybe not. Let me see if there's any errors that's coming up. So console. Okay, let me make sure I type that in correctly. So we have s.tile.openstreetmap. That's why I didn't type in the T on it. And those look fine. So let's hit show position again. There we go. So now it's kind of positioning where it needs to go. Apparently I'm in Seattle right now. Alright, so now I want to have a map marker drop down using these coordinates. Alright, so now we have our tile layer for the map, and again, you don't have to use Leaflet, you don't even have to use Open Maps. You can do the same thing with Google Maps as long as you're passing in these coordinates, but I figured since it was open source, it was easier for most people to access, just to be able to play around with it. But you can, do it however you want to do it. Okay, so finally we're going to do const marker, and this is going to be equal to l.marker. And just in case you're wondering why I'm using this instead of Google Maps, is Google Maps, it's free up to a point, but you have to set up your billing information and all that other kind of stuff, so it just makes it more difficult for people to get started with it compared to how it used to be. But I think this would be the easier way for you to kind of get started and display the same thing without worrying about having to put in any of that kind of information. Okay, so let's do the latitude first, and then we're going to do position dot coordinates dot longitude, and then finally we're going to do add to map. So now if we come over here, hit show position, currently my VPN is putting me in the ocean. So yours may be different, but this is where it's putting me at right now, is that apparently I'm somewhere in the ocean outside of Seattle. But as you can see, it's actually adding the map marker. It is saying that we're in Seattle based on this longitude, or this latitude and this longitude. Okay, so let's come back down to this show position. So whenever someone loads the page, and let me just reset this again, I want it to show like a message that says, gathering your location or something like that. So whenever they first hit it until the information changes, I want to do, let me see, did I create anything? I did not. So let's do result. And instead of doing inner HTML over here, I think I'm going to change this to inner text, just to make it a little bit cleaner so it doesn't replace anything that you may put inside of your styling, or hard code it inside of that div. So I'm going to pass this down. Okay, so I'm going to copy this, and right underneath our show position, I'm going to paste it because I am going to use this now. So we're going to do result dot inner text equals getting the position information. Alright, so now if we come back over here and we hit show position, it says getting position information. If we hit allow, then it changes it, adds the map, and all this kind of good stuff. I think that is pretty much it. So let me see, show position. Okay, I want to make it where when you click on this button, the button goes away. So I remember I added that in the very beginning. We just commented out. So now if we click it, now the button is gone. It shows latitude and longitude, and then it shows the embedded map. So I think that is going to do it for this tutorial. Pretty easy to do it. You know, once you are able to grab the location from the GPS or the coordinates inside of your browser, then it makes it a lot easier for you to be able to go in there and manipulate it. So pretty much everything that you're going to use is right here. And then this down, you can either use it because you're using Leaflet and OpenStreetMap, or you can change this to match your Google Maps if you are already got that set up and you want to do it that way. So either way it'll work as long as you're passing in the right coordinates to it. But I think that is it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions about this tutorial, you know, leave me a comment and I'll try to respond to it as quickly as I can. But I think that's going to do it for now. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you later.